Unit 3, Growth of Trade in Colonial America. I suggest that you have your Chromebook open while you take the test and just take the questions one at a time being read aloud. But any way that is most comfortable for you is fine. Growth of trade in the colonies. 1. What is the difference between imports and exports? Directions. Use the diagram below to answer questions 2 through 5. 13 colonies exports. Tobacco, rice, wheat, hides, fish, beaver fur, corn, hemp, indigo, rum, lumber, staves, shipbuilding, naval stores. New England colonies, middle colonies, southern colonies. Number 2. Name 3 exports that were found in the New England colonies but not in the southern colonies. Number 3. Which colonial region or regions exported indigo? Number 4. Which profitable export was grown in both the middle and southern colonies but imported into the New England colony? Number 5. Which colonial region offered the greatest variety of exports? Written response. Why do the types of exports vary or differ as you go from New England colonies south to the southern colonies? 6. What were the Navigation Acts and how did they affect the colonies? A. The Navigation Acts allowed the colonists to trade freely with other countries and share their profits with England. B. The Navigation Acts allowed the colonists to trade with England only, but gave them security in always having England to trade with. C. The Navigation Acts were put in place to tax the ships that traveled across the ocean between the 13 colonies and countries around the world. D. The Navigation Acts strengthened the relationship between the 13 colonies by giving the colonists freedom to trade with each other. 7. Why was the triangular trade important for the development of colonial America? A. The triangular trade was a technique used to get imports, exports, and natural resources unloaded from ships and into the colonies. B. The triangular trade was a method used to move natural resources between the colonists, Native Americans, and England. C. The triangular trade was a system for moving imports and exports between the New England colonies, middle colonies, and southern colonies. D. The triangular trade allowed for imports and exports to move between 13 colonies, Britain, the West Indies, and Africa. 8. Why were Black Africans important for the development of the 13 colonies in America? A. Africans got along well with the Native Americans and assisted the colonists with building positive working relationships with them. B. The Africans were paid workers in the southern colonies and cleared land for plantations. C. The Africans were a reliable source of slave labor found throughout all the colonies. D. Located in the New England colonies, Africans were slaves who quickly became landowners and grew tobacco for exporting, making England a lot of money. 9. What was the Middle Passage? The Middle Passage was a voyage Africans took across the Atlantic Ocean to the New World. B. The Middle Passage was the deck of the ship Africans were kept in as they traveled to America. C. The Middle Passage was a secret code Africans used when capturing blacks to be sold as slaves. D. The Middle Passage was a series of routes used to help Africans escape slavery. 10. Place an X on each box that describes living conditions Africans endured during the Middle Passage. Cramped spaces, people were tightly packed. Frequent trips on deck to get fresh air. Most often people were chained by the neck and legs. Free to move about the ship at will. No bathrooms, so people had to lie in own waste. Wooden platforms where people were stacked, one bunk on top of another. 11. Which of the 13 colonies had slaves? A. The New England colonies, B, the middle colonies, C, the southern colonies, D, all 13 colonies had slaves. Written response. Why do you think the slave trade continued even though some colonists were against this cruel treatment of Africans? Essential questions. Pick one of the questions below and write a paragraph to explain your answer. Use specific examples from the simulation and/or the colonization unit. Number 1. What economic factors impacted the development of the 13 colonies? 2. How does the trading of goods impact the development of a society? 3. What factors created interdependence in the world economy for the 13 colonies?